welcome to another Tip Top Tuesday. Slightly late today, but it's worth the wait. I hope you will agree. So I'm Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. I'm a UK-based independent Stampin' Up demonstrator operating across France, Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, and of course the UK. And today my top tip is how to get some, colour's the wrong word, but it'll do, on vellum, our cardstock vellum. Now this is a very old technique, but one that I think we forget quite regularly. So I'm going to share some ideas using this technique with you today. So let us flip down to the desk. Okay, in fact, let me go picture in picture, then you can see me as well. So I have got one of the stamps from the All Together stamp set. No, it's not. It's called the Here Together stamp set. I've got a sample that I'm going to show you using this one. So I'm using this one for this example. Just mounted it on my D block. I've got a piece of vellum ready to go, some Versamark ink and an embossing buddy. And I'm just going to rub my embossing buddy and a cat hair across the vellum. Add some Versamark to my ink pad. Now I know I've said this a couple of times, probably more than that recently, but I recently ordered a new Versamark ink pad and it was quite enlightening because obviously it came pre-inked with what I suspect is the amount of ink that you would get the best result for using your Versamark. That wasn't a well-constructed sentence, but I hope you know what I mean. So it's a lot wetter than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting it, sorry I need my spoon. I was expecting it to be not so wet. So I am now realising why it is that some of my embossing before I got my new pad was perhaps not that great. Because it didn't have enough ink. So yes, for most things, less is more. For using Versamark, I think it's more is more. Now, sadly, we don't have the embossing buddy anymore. I think it is still available from other places, but what you can use, which is cheap / free, is a used, please note used, tumble dryer sheet. Let me just grab my trusty cheese board, because obviously this is heat embossing. We need to emboss it with heat. So yes, a used tumble dryer sheet, not a new one, because that will be too wet and it will do the opposite to what you want. So be very careful with vellum and heat embossing because vellum is delicate. So do just be aware that you don't want to warp your vellum because it's not a good look. It will warp a little. Having the cheese board behind helps a bit. I will actually be heating on the reverse as well, just to help keep that flatter. And also heat around so that it's not just all concentrated in one area. Right, so that's properly melted, but I'm going to just do the back as well, just to help even out some of that warping. And there we have our beautiful embossed image. So can you see it's lovely and crisp and white, and the amount of Versamark ink does help with that. Now I'm just going to waft it to make sure it's fully dry because I want it upside down. But what you don't want is to do this when the embossing powder is still slightly wet. Embossing tool. So this is what we use on our scoreboards, but it also comes with your take your pick. So let's see what happens if we use this on our vellum. So I'm going gently emphasis on the word gently, and I'm going in circles over the back of the vellum. Now sometimes it can be a bit sticky, which this is awful, but the grease around your nose, very good lubricator. It's just a little bit of grease. Your hair also works well. If you've got dry hands and you use hand cream, that works well. Just don't use the hand cream before you do your embossing, because you will leave little marks all over your vellum or whatever it is you're embossing, and it will pick up the embossing powder. Now I'm not going to spend hours doing this. I'm going to do enough to show you what happens. I mean, you can probably see a bit of what's happening. But I have got a finished example using the other hand stamp from the Here Together. I'm going to call it the All Together forever, I think. The Here Together stamp set. Let's get that as well. Now, when I post this on my website, I will have the finished version of this card as well as the one I'm about to show you, just so that you can see what it looks like in the end. But just gently, gently keep working that area, and then when you turn it over, can you see it's gone white, which is what we're looking for. So it gives you that lovely finish. Other things you can do, let me just make sure, I'm going to be die cutting that with a circle die, so let me just cut off what I don't need, because I have chosen a very large piece of vellum. So other things that you can do to get the same sort of effect, let me grab my scoreboard, which seems to be wanting to bring my trusty cheese board with it. So scoreboard, piece of vellum, which is actually square at the top. It's about the only place it's square. Again, embossing tool, so your scoring blade, a scoring tool, and you can add patterns just by scoring. Now it is going to curl up, but that's fine. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines, and they start roughly half an inch in. No, it's more than that, it's roughly 3/4 of an inch in. So if I just keep scoring, you then get this lovely, it's raised, let me bring in my, it's raised, but it's also got this lovely grid pattern on it. I mean, you can use it the other way up as well. You've still got the grid pattern, but with the indentations. You can make it darker, if that's the right word, simply by going over it again, and with the small one, the small end of your scoring blade tool, you get a whiter finish because you're bending the vellum more. That's what I want in there. I want it that way. But do be careful, and I'm going to do this deliberately wrong in a moment. So that gives you the nice white lines, but if you go too hard, you get the nice white lines, but you also can end up actually cutting your vellum. Of course, it won't now do it for me. Let me bring this in again, because I managed to do it beautifully earlier today. Yeah, I'm beginning to break it down to the extent that it is actually cracking. So do be gentle, because if you go too hard, it will just, you'll crack your vellum. and once it's cracked like that, it just goes. So there you go. That's the effect that we're looking for. And I've done I did this card in preparation, and I have actually coloured. I don't know if it shows up particularly well on the video, but this is pink. Hopefully it will pick up on the photographs. And I've used polished pink blend behind, polished pink card, polished pink ribbon, and then the 2 areas of heat embossing. And I've stuck this is one of the stitched rectangles. I've stuck it down with the adhesive sheet, which means that because it's all over the back of all of the vellum, it's less likely to show. But sticking it to pattern paper also means that the pattern's showing through anyway, which means it hides some of the adhesive just by having a pattern paper. Oh, so I hope you enjoyed that. Let me come back to my face so I can see you properly. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, please share those with me in the comment section below the description bar. Do remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this and get more information, free projects, those sorts of things. Do subscribe to my newsletter. There's a link for that in the description bar and on my website, and there will be a link to the blog post that goes with this video in the description bar. Just click the link that says associated blog post and you will find that. Thank you very much indeed. Have a fantastic day. Can't believe it's March, and I will see you again very soon. Bye. Oh, can't find my end screen. There we go.